anyone, anywhere, anytime. This is Zach of SomeDudePlays.com, just some dude who likes to play video games, and I welcome you all back to part 87 of Fire Emblem Three Houses Blue Lines. I have a special treat for everyone today. Joining with me is Drewstopher, another YouTuber who is doing a PMU or Pick My Unit playthrough of the Black Eagles for Fire Emblem. So, how are you doing, Drew?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, and thank you for approaching me with this idea in the first place. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, I just saw an opportunity for two aspiring small channels to kind of get out there and improve upon our work and just try something different to kind of make us more well-rounded.
Yeah, it seems to be a pretty good idea when you get people in a good group.
Yeah, and I thought it'd be pretty fun too. Aside from anything else, if there's nothing to gain from it, at least there'll be some fun.
Well, either way, there's always something to gain because one, you meet someone who's doing the same stuff as you, and a lot of times if one person gets bigger, the other person gets bigger as well.
Yep, it's a win-win.
Yeah, so basically what we're going to do now is we're just going to show my current roster, and we'll go through each of the characters. So I've grabbed quite a lot from the other classes. If we go to my supports for Byleth here, the only ones I haven't recruited yet that I have the chance are Hilda, Marianne, Lorenz, Petra, Caspar, Linhart, Ferdinand. Everyone else for the other classes I have recruited, and Gilbert and Seteth won't be able to be recruited until the next part of everything. Yeah. So what do you think on that, Drew?
I think you're doing yourself a lot of favors. I guess the best problem to have is have too many options. You'll never run out of you can't get bored, I would say, because if you just get tired of one character, you're like, oh, I haven't used this one in a while, and then you could just switch out. You really have the most options, I think, in any Fire Emblem game. I can't remember last time a game had this many fieldable characters. So you're really giving yourself a whole lot of options for creativity and just trying see what works best for your team composition.
Yeah, I do agree with that. So basically what we're doing right now is we're going through a skill and comparison, but Drew has Serenades for us up for all the character growth stats and things like that, and I'll talk on how I feel about the different characters as I played them. So right now we have Byleth here, the main character that's basically your avatar in game. And so this is my current stats with a bonus for speed and health because of the two abilities I have equipped. So what do you think of my Byleth so far for the chapter I'm on?
Well, the first thing I noticed that stands out is that he's a commoner still.
Yeah, what happened was, if I go over to classes, you can see I went Mercenary, Mirrodin, and then Assassin, mastered those, and his advanced class was an Assassin class, and I mastered that. So I figured I might as well work and get some, faith experience for him, because the commoner class can use magic, which is a big thing.
Ah, okay. So basically you're just trying to make him as well-rounded as you can.
Yeah, and with me being on a lower difficulty where you have basically infinite auxiliary battles, it makes it very easy to get your characters overpowered early, right?
Yeah, it is. He looks about as you expect for a lot of the protagonists from a lot of games, especially the sword-based ones. You see pretty high strength and pretty high speed. Actually,
yeah.
I would say exceptionally high speed.
Yeah. And if there's one thing very important in a Fire Emblem game, your speed is your most important stat.
Yeah, speed, strength, and health are like the three keys to success.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's great. And if you ever need to take advantage of an enemy who has low resistance, he has still pretty damn good magic. Like 22 is very serviceable. especially if you consider it's not his primary attack. Yeah, your spell list isn't great, but you are working on it a bit.
Yeah.
And at the worst, he's another healer, and he's a healer who can definitely defend himself.
The other thing is the few characters I haven't recruited quite yet, like Petra, need fly-in, they need ride-in, or they need heavy armor. Marianne needs reason, which is why I haven't gotten her yet. And then one of the guys needs sprawl-in. But heavy armor, ride-in, and flying, if the character requires those for recruitment, they're much more difficult in your first playthrough because you want to get as much professor experience as possible.
Yeah, that's true. And what they make it kind of hard is that the only way you can really work on your riding and flying is to get to a class that has it, because there's no, I'm not sure if any of the professor like faculty trains let you work on those. Give you riding, I think, but I can't think of any others.
From what I remember, Gerald and Gilbert help you with riding, and one of them helps you with heavy armor.
Yeah, Gilbert helps you with heavy armor.
Yeah, like your best bet is to get them up enough that you can attempt to go into like the cavalry class or the wyvern class to get those up, or even heavy knight and those guys. Yeah. So basically, I have this nifty little thing equipped, the knowledge gem.
Yeah.
Man, it makes getting skill experience up so easy.
Yeah, that's a really good investment for the long term, especially if one of your goals is to recruit basically every possible character.
Yeah.
You definitely need that.
And one of the reasons I went to assassin class is lethality. If you can use that and vantage together,
yeah, that's a pretty nice setup, because not only do you have the chance to one-shot people, you can do it on enemy phase before they get a chance to attack you.
Yep. Yeah, so I found Byleth is a really easy character to use too.
Yeah.
And with this game having the option to give any character any weapon, is like, what?
Yeah, that's really cool, and it's unique. The only thing I think that sucks is that I think magic users can't use gauntlets.
Yeah, probably. I haven't tried it yet, so I wouldn't know.
We can try it later when we get into a battle, but I think that's one of those things. Magic users can't use gauntlets, and then obviously if you're not a magic class, you can't use magic, which is weird, but also makes sense. But it was like one of those things I kind of internally cried about, because any class can use any physical weapon. They just but you can't use magic even if you have a spell list. Like, you have a spell list, but you can't use the spells unless you're a magic class.
Yeah. So I just moved on to my next character here, Dimitri.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, he's awesome. As both as a character, his background and everything is really great. So right now he's a paladin class, and with how I taught him, I'm trying to train him up so he can at least have the option of becoming a bow knight. But I know his natural story progression classes are pretty damn good.
Yeah, I didn't take him the mounted route. I believe my progression for him was just noble, and then I think I mastered lord, and then soldier while I was waiting. And because I think his intermediate class was lord. And I think I mostly kept him there because it was my first playthrough, so I hadn't had everything figured out, so I wasn't worried about like, oh, I mastered this class, now switch him. And he was so good as a lord, and he looked cool because you couldn't change outfits like you can in a new update. And I did like the way he looked, so yeah, I kind of left him there partially because of how he looked. But he was incredibly serviceable from the first battle you have him till the very end of the game. And then, as you touched on, as a character, he's probably had the most interesting character art I've followed like closely in any character from the series. I didn't find myself getting invested in a character more than I have with him, and it's a very like realistic and feels like a genuine development in his character. Like, nothing really seems forced or too far in one direction. Like, it doesn't just jump from one thing to the next. Like, it has a gradual say progression. Like it all feels natural and genuine, and that's probably my favorite part about it.
Yep, I do agree there with what I've seen so far. You have to remember I haven't quite reached part 2 left. So as you can see, I mastered Noble, went to Soldier, got Cavalier, and then I jumped into Paladin. But I was really tempted to go the bow route for that hit plus 20 skill, but yeah.
He has high dex, so he's not really. It's not like a necessity, really.
Yeah. Well, I have Dexterity plus 4 equipped to him.
Yeah, he's sitting at 28 dex. I think you'd be fine without the
yeah.
plus 20.
Well, once you get over 20, your character's doing pretty good, except in speed, right?
Yeah. That's the one thing you sacrifice with mounted classes is you get a -10 speed growth.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're giving up a small speed growth for a lot more movement.
But the thing is, I do know that Dimitri's other classes that I'm probably going to be ending the game with is story progression ones do have quite the decent speed growth to them.
I can check for you.
Yeah. Then go ahead.
Let's see. Okay. Yep. It's kind of hidden because it's considered quote-unquote spoilers.
Yep.
So I believe he is. Yep. He's a Great Lord. It doesn't affect his speed at all. He gets his gross for Great Lord: 30% health, 10% strength, 10% dex, 5% defense, and 10% charm. So that's just what gets added onto his.
Okay, well, I haven't gone so much into the stats. I just like to play the game, right?
Yeah, well, naturally, he has a 50% speed growth already on his own, so he's doing plenty well on his own.
Yeah. So basically, I almost have him ready to go to expert classes. I just need to get Authority and Lance up to A there.
Oh, yeah.
And Raiden.
Yeah, you're doing a good job by investing in his Authority, because you'll get some really good battalions down the road with insane buffs and gambits.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll really appreciate them.
Well, basically on everyone but Felix, I've been trying to up their Authority as much as I can.
Yeah, it's a pain for characters who have weaknesses and things, man. I'll tell you, like in my Pick My Units playthrough of trying to get Edelgard her Faith up has been a disaster.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've been watching your videos too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we're going to move on to our heavy wall from Dusker Dedu.
He's an absolute tank.
Yeah. I've been finding that he doesn't really need that weight -3 skill.
No, he's so damn strong already.
And if you notice, the battalion I have equipped to him are the Duskar Heavy Soldiers, which you can only get if you complete his paralog.
Yep. That's good. I didn't notice that. Yep.
But yeah, his stats aren't the greatest, except in strength.
No, I mean, like you said, he is basically just a wall. Walls don't really move much, at least the ones at my house don't. But they are pretty hard to knock down, and that's what he is. And he's incredibly durable, and he hits like an absolute Mack truck. Oh
yeah, well his staunch shield skill. Wait, he gets defense +4. That's just amazing.
Yeah, it is. You can just plot him down somewhere and he'll just eat shots. And I think a good strategy for him is having him wait and then bait in a bunch of units, enemy units, and they'll do minimal to no damage to him. And then the rest of your force can come in and attack on player phase and essentially wipe them out with taking minimal to no damage.
Yeah. Well, right now his brawl's at B+. I want to get that to A as quickly as possible for his grappler class. Not so important on heavy armor, even though he does really good. But my other option that I'm planning to do, and because as you see, I started with commoner, I went to fighter, I went to brawler, and I haven't quite gotten enough to get grappler. But he was full up, so to start leveling up like heavy armor, I just switched him to armor knight. Because that's his niche. But my plan is to put him into War Master here.
Yeah, that's how I took him. Like, well, my end goal was War Master, but I didn't even go the Armor Knight route at all. I went against the grain, not knowing it.
Yeah.
But I felt like because he was like a foreigner. He is a foreigner in the scheme of the game. And the grappling and the brawling is new to the series. So I'm like, maybe he's like the main character they introduced alongside the brawling. That's how I kind of took it in my head. Could be wrong. But I did take him the fighter route and then the brigand. The brigand or a brawler route, I think is a class. And then I went grappler and then war master. And he just works so well for me because with the gauntlets, he's always attacking twice on player phase.
Well, usually I've had him attacking 4 times, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and you can give him like a hammer because the gauntlets aren't great against heavy units.
Yep.
But he can usually outpace the heavy units as a grappler, so he's great for dealing a lot of damage. Just it's the glaring point for him is his resistance. So
yeah,
keeping out for those magic users, but his stats don't look great on paper, but he has a lot of utility.
Yeah. Well, I do know if I want to increase his stats in the resistance, I just have to kind of switch him to a magic class to increase that growth rate there.
Yeah,
but
the thing is,
his magic isn't good at all.
So I don't mean to deflate you too hard.
Go ahead.
His natural resistance growth rate is 10%.
Yeah.
And if you take him any magic class, it's only going to increase it by 5% or 10% at the most, so it's not worth it.
Yeah, you're much better getting all the stat up items from Gardening than you are that, right?
Yeah, I mean, for him, he's the kind of character it's best just to double down on what he's really good at.
Yeah.
And make the most of him.
I've found that too.
Yeah, not every character is well-rounded, but he's one of those guys where he's just so good at 1 or 2 things. You want to keep investing in that just to take advantage of it. Speaking of which, here's another guy who's incredible at 2 things.
Yeah, Felix. Yes. One of my favorite characters in Blue Lions.
Yes, he has such a dark personality, doesn't care. Well, seemingly on the surface doesn't care.
Yeah.
But he's so damn good.
He's a darn tsundere.
Oh my god. I just so when I didn't do much research because into like the actual characters, like their personalities or anything, because I wanted my first experience to be authentic as possible.
Yeah.
And I like looked at him and was like, oh, he looks pretty cool. Like you see his eye color is different. He kind of gave me like that Sasuke vibe from Naruto.
Yeah.
And he kind of lives up to that. He's a badass on the battlefield and has super dark personality, and he's just absolute savage on the battlefield.
Oh yeah, like if you play any class, get your sword to B rank as soon as possible if you're not doing supports, just to recruit this guy. I mean, other than your main character, he's the closest one who can do as much damage as Byleth on the field of battle from what I found.
Oh yeah, especially his personal ability. I think it's +4.
Lone Wolf, right?
Yeah.
5 extra damage when no battalion is assigned.
Just screw that. I don't need any help. Send me on my own.
Yeah, but I mean, I have him 27 attack, 24 dex, 31 speed. Yeah. Like, he's pretty good for a main attacker.
And his I think it should show his relic, his shield.
Yeah, the Aegis shield, which you get from his paralog.
Yep, that's super good. And you're like, oh, it has 6 weight. Doesn't matter. Look how strong he is and look how fast he is.
Yeah.
It's not going to slow him down. I promise.
Yeah, and with the low down options for upgrading him, I've really focused on getting his sword to A rank. I got his bow to C, his Brawlin's D, which he really kind of starts with, and Reason is D+.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what to go next, but you've kind of convinced me to maybe end his class with Swordmaster. Let's actually switch to Ash. But yeah, I started his normal max and went to Mirrodin. And then I did Thief because I wanted the Lock, Touch, and Steal skills.
Yeah.
And then I went Mercenary. And then finally I'm working on Assassin. because once that's done, I'll move him into the Swordmaster class because he should be godly as a character then.
Oh yeah, well, especially because he'll have lethality in his back pocket too as
Yep.
a swordmaster and Vantage. Oh man.
Well, the other thing is Sword Fair is a really good skill for him.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, that's basically all you're ever going to use with him. I have seen on the subreddit some people did take him the grappler route. I think when I saw that though, it was the earlier stages of the release. It was
Yep.
within a month, so a lot of people were probably really trying to get in on what brawling is all about and trying to take advantage of it and just see what was going on. But I did take him a similar route as you. I actually did go assassin first, but I don't think I mastered it because I felt like he served better as a sword master.
Yeah.
And another reason I put him as sword master, that was his cannon class, and his post time skip design
Fits it,
really
right?
cool, and it only shows in battle if he's a sword master. That's fixed now in the new update. You can change how they
Yeah.
look in battle. But I beat my Blue Lions route well before his update, and I love the way his post time skip design looked, so I kept him that way. And personally, I have a soft spot in my heart for sword masters in the series.
Yeah.
Joshua, Guy, and Stefan from all the Fire Emblem series.
Yeah.
That's like some of my favorite characters.
Yeah, so now we're looking at Ash here. Of course, I've started him to go down for the Bow Knight because that is an overpowered class and he just fits it perfectly.
Yeah, the overpowered to say the least, because the thing that sticks out the most to me about Bow Knight is their reach on the battlefield, because they have 7 move, I believe, and then they have +2 bow range.
Yep.
Come on, that's just unreal.
Well, Ash here too is one of my more rounded characters with stats. And then plus I gave him that hit +20 from Master and Archer here. And it just makes him awesome. I just wish he could do some more damage with his bows. My last attempt at a bow tournament with him didn't go too well. Had to switch to Bernadetta to win it.
Yeah, I noticed I've been losing tournaments, not because I've died or lost all the health. I guess I just don't beat them in enough turns. And
Well, the other thing too is the odd time you'll get that unlucky critical hit and they'll take you out.
yeah, but it's not even that. It's like we go back and forth, and the battle's gone on for a little bit, but neither of us are even close to being dead, and then they'd say I lost. So I guess there's like a certain, like there's like a turn limit maybe in each battle.
Yeah.
Weird. But for my Ash, I did take him a different route. You did take him a route I saw a lot of people do. I took him down just the archer path, basically, like fighter, archer, sniper, and then bow knight. I just felt like he fit there naturally, and it worked really well for me. I got a little luckier with his strength growth than you did. But that's Fire Emblem. Everyone gets screwed at some point.
Yeah, I agree.
He was great for me. Like, he was behind the main line, providing plenty of support, and he was actually doubling a good amount of characters, and I kind of used him as like a mage killer. Like, that was probably his best thing, was just picking people off, doing a lot of chip damage.
Yeah, well,
making it a lot easier for the weaker characters.
well, like his best skills are axe and bow, but once you get his lance to 3 stars, that's the third really good one to train him in. Yeah, as you can see on this screen here. Yeah.
And I have a bone to pick with the developers. Why did they give bow range +2 to a bow knight and not the sniper?
Yeah, I haven't used the sniper class, so I went no.
I mean, think about it. When you go to bow knight, you're already getting a mount. That's already a huge bonus, right?
Yeah.
But like the bonus to get to sniper should be, a sniper is all their life is about is using a bow. They should get more range. You know what I mean? Whatever. Tangent.
Yeah. So now I've moved to Sylvain, the smooth split playboy of the Blue Lion House. And, well, with him, he's actually more set up to be like a cavalry class, like a Black Knight or something like that. But I decided to move him to try again to be the Wyvern Lord. Because, well, Wyvern Lords are overpowered in past Fire Emblem games.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you chose the right path. And
Yeah.
I know by saying that because I took him the same way. I took him the Wyvern route because I was like, he's got like that like cool guy, like red hair, like
Yep.
flow going. I was like, that guy belongs on a freaking dragon, dude. Get out of here.
Yeah. Well, he also gets the skill Death Blow from Wyvern Rider, strength +6 during combat, and that just allows him to take out enemies like nothing.
Yeah.
But you still want to work on his lance skill, because his relic weapon is the Lance of Ruin, which you get from his paralogue, or if you don't choose to give it to the church in the story chapter.
Yep. Yeah, he was pretty good. For like endgame for me, he wasn't one of my top characters. He kind of was like a second fiddle to Ingrid. But I mean, we all know how good Ingrid can be. But he was pretty good. I don't know how he is as a paladin or Dark Knight. I think he does have an affinity or like a strength and reason, right?
Yeah. Once you get him fill up to the 3 stars, he gets a bonus skill.
Yeah, I think it's +20 avoid with black magic.
Yeah,
I believe is what it is. But I didn't take him the magic route at all. I used him as a wyvern, and he was great. He did a lot of damage and had a far reach, and that helped me out in a pinch a lot of times with characters that need a little bit of help from far away. He was able there to kind of save the day.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, if you play a female Byleth, it doesn't matter what class you're in, you can instantly recruit him, so that's a bonus.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny how they made like his character gimmick actual like part of the game. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to the classic older sister mother type character of the Blue Lions, Mercedes. And of course, I've taken her the mage route, but she was the one who managed to win the dancer competition because she is one of the best support characters you could get.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, she has Physic, which is a long-range heal, which is just ridiculous. But yeah.
Fortify. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And plus, because I've done her bishop class, she has double the uses for white magic, heal an extra 10 damage, and her skill Live to Serve is really good.
Oh yeah.
Like, she's so made to be your healer.
Yeah, she is. I made a big mistake unknowingly in my first run. She died, I guess, somewhere along the line pre-time skip, and I didn't notice. I thought I benched her unknowingly, but I couldn't find her. I was like Googling like Reddit and Google research. It's like, where does Mercedes disappear or something? And no, she died in my playthrough. And I didn't know. But,
yeah, I had an issue with one of my earlier chapters with Dedu dying because it was totally my mistake. I didn't have Mercedes heal him with Physic when I should have because I had already moved her. And that's why for my first playthrough I played on casual, because I didn't want to have to go back, record 30 minutes of video because a character died.
Yeah, I was on classic normal, but I think I was in the car or something, but I was basically like flying through the level and I got reckless and she died, but I did make up for it because in a different run I recruited her from a different house. And yeah, she is amazing. Probably the best healer in recent history that I can think of.
Yeah. Well, we're going to move on to the other magic user in Blue Lions, who's mainly an attacker, which would be Annette.
You had a lot better luck with her stats than I did.
Yeah, well, 33 magic, even with the increase from magic +2, right?
Oh man, you're a lot more fortunate because she was so bad in mine. I actually recruited someone because of how bad she was for me.
Yeah. Well, her lowest stat is her defense, which is 12, so everything seems to be pretty good for her. Yeah, and I almost have her reason and faith to A rank, and once you get both, she'll become a Grimoire.
Yeah, and Grimoire is such an insane class.
Yeah. Well, I've also been taking her up on the Black magic route. So maybe once I have that done, I'll train her in Raiden just for the heck of it, because if I finish it, maybe she'll do good as a Black Knight or something like that, right?
I like the Black Knight class, but I benched her hardcore, so I don't know. I can look at her bases and gross for you if you like, but
no need. It's always up to the
yeah, because I can't speak to how well she is because I completely benched her on my playthrough.
Yeah, and the nice thing is I got her the Fiendish Blow skill, which is magic +6, which is always useful.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's the magic equivalent of the Wyverns get, right?
Yeah, I think there's 4 of those in the game. So now we're on to Ingrid, who is a flying powerhouse.
Yes, finally a good unit. House kit.
Yeah.
Honestly, Blue Lions is kind of stacked, I think.
Oh, I agree there. So she's at her max for Pegasus Knight, though I do want to get her to Falcon Knight.
Yep, that's the route I took her, and I think that's her most natural and canon class, and probably the thing she fits best.
Well, her secondary path is of course Raiden, right?
Yeah.
I
like flying a little better.
Yeah, I've been kind of debating to switch her into Cavalier, just so I can have some option to get some more class experience and different level ups. But she's a perfect flyer.
Yeah. I know you do a lot of auxiliary battles. Just the only thing is, you won't get. It gets a lot harder to master a class because of the amount of XP it takes when you get higher up.
Oh yeah,
so
I agree.
It's a lot harder. So, I think it's probably best to take her flying.
Yep.
I feel like that's what she fits best. I mean, look at her. I mean, her stats speak for themselves.
Yeah, and even her skill scream put me in a flying class with the sword.
No weaknesses.
Yeah.
You can literally do anything you want with her.
Oh, which is why she's such a great character.
You could even make her a mage, and it wouldn't take that long to get her caught up.
Yeah, which means she can go into some of the really good master classes too.
Yeah, but Falco Knight was something I absolutely wanted.
Yeah. So now we move on to one of my first recruited characters from Black Eagle, Bernadetta, the sweet little cinnamon roll who won't leave her room.
Yeah, I'm in my Pick My Units playthrough. She's like a freaking glass cannon, I would say.
Yeah.
She's not that durable, but she dishes out quite a bit of damage.
Well, one thing too is if you notice on a lot of my characters that use bows, I have close counter. That is a must-have skill for any bow user because it doesn't matter what they have equipped, they can always counter attack.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a game-breaking ability because everyone's always said like archers suck in Fire Emblem because they suck on enemy phase. Well, now what do you have to say? They're like the best units in the game now.
Yeah, so basically with Bernie, the best way to move her through her class classes is to follow the cavalry classes with their growths, because lances and bow, and then the only one that you can get to star rating is Raiden. So if you want to, you could probably make her a flying class 2 for that triangle attack skill.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's one, since you're kind of limited on options for Pegasus because it's a female log class, she's definitely a good candidate for it.
Yeah. Well, she's also the only one who I've been able to have win the bow tournament twice in a row. Even though I did have some mishaps where she died during them, but it's just a practice tournament.
Yeah.
And so here's one of my other early pickups from Black Eagle, which is Dorothea, who personally, her entire skill set is set up to have her become the support class, the dancer.
Yeah, I have 2 different Black Eagles playthroughs going.
Yeah.
One that's not recorded, but she's my dancer actually on that. So funny that you mentioned that. But on my Blue Lions playthrough, my first one, I actually did recruit her because I needed some mage help because of Annette not being good, and she was really good as a mage, I think.
Oh yeah. Too. Well, her skills are made for dancer because she has a bonus as long as you get the 3-star ratings in faith. And so a dancer is a support magic user class, and she actually has an increase in swords. So basically, that's practically the only setup class to really turn her into.
Yeah. She has a pretty good spell list too, actually, I think.
Yeah, and then I forgot to mention that so far, Bernadetta, who we just talked about, she is one of my favorite characters in this game. And for female characters, Dorothea has turned out to be a close second.
Yeah, and I kind of like her because she has a hat. She doesn't fit in that time area, whatever it's supposed to be.
She is old style.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah. So now my most recent pickup is Raphael.
Raph Dog, yes.
He's another one who, if you train him, his perfect end class hands down is War Master.
Yep.
And really, I haven't used him too much, and I don't really plan to use him too much this playthrough. But we'll see how much better he gets in Golden Deer. So how did you like him?
I'm gonna sum him up in one sentence. He is the dude, but with personality.
Yeah. Yeah, he's actually one of the harder ones to recruit, because doesn't he need heavy armor for stats, or is it just brawling with him?
I think it's strength and either axes or brawling.
Yeah. Oh, it's brawl. Yeah. I can't remember because he was one of those characters, because like I said, any that you need heavy armor, riding, and flying, those are going to be your hardest recruitment characters.
Yeah. I think his was strength and brawling or axes. It's one of those two. It wasn't heavy armor though.
Yeah, that's Ferdinand.
Oh yeah. This is like the easiest character to recruit.
Yeah. Ignatz here isn't a really easy character to recruit. When I was upgrading Byleth to get the C rank in bows, I was able to recruit him at D because I had gotten his support, Ignatz's support to C. But for him, he seems to be a really decent male magic user if you can get his 3-star rating and reason. Other than that, you probably want to set him on to a bow class, maybe bow knight at the end.
Yeah, I've recruited him just because it came to me naturally. Like, all of a sudden I had the stats to get him to recruit him, so I recruited him just for the heck of it. But I haven't used him yet because I haven't played the Golden Deer route. But I have seen a lot of people make him their dancer, those who played Golden Deer.
Yeah.
And they said he fits naturally and like fits perfectly. So, I mean, that's pretty intriguing to me.
Yeah. So now we're going to remove to Lysithea, who's another one I recruited. And the way her skills are set, it's like they want you to take her into the mortal class at the end with her bonus in sword, reason, faith, and authority. But I have heard there are issues with that. And then there's the skill sword blade.
Yeah.
I mean soul blade, which magic attack, and it's based on your resistance, so it's quite powerful there.
Yeah, the only thing I would be scared of if I made her moral savant is look how her defense is.
Yeah, she turns into a total glass cannon.
Yep. So I took her I actually recruited her because Annette, was not great for me, so I actually recruited her, and everyone else her as a Death Knight killer because how insanely high her magic gets and how quickly it does. But once she gets as a Gremory, she's absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's the other way I was kind of training her.
Yeah, I would definitely take her that route. Just from personal experience, she's insane there.
Yeah, so then I picked up Leonie, and in my mind, the only way to take her is the cavalry classes because she is Gerald's apprentice.
Yep, I took her that route, and she's been great for me as a bow knight.
But she's another okay one to switch to a flying unit as well if you want to actually see that triangle attack.
Oh yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah. Plus, there's the rivalry skill with any male ally. Deals 2 and takes 2 less, so that's a really good one there.
Really good, yeah.
And now here's one I've been having a little troubles with getting strength screwed. Blaine. Like, if you take her into magic classes, she's really good. But I took her to a flyer unit just for the heck of it, so she's my second flyer. But
Are you regretting it yet?
I'll probably switch her back to a magic user because she's not getting the strength she needs. And as long as you keep her into a Grimoire class, she's pretty good. Like, she has been a useful support because one of her magic skills is rescue, which makes you have amazing warp strategies.
Yeah, it does. The only time I've used her is on her paralog because you have to use her.
Yeah.
That rescue actually did came in handy because on my recent episode it helped me out get a Levin sword that I wouldn't have gotten if I didn't have rescue.
Yeah.
But other than, I think that's like probably the biggest appeal to her, but a lot of people do like her character.
Oh, she
Not
is.
so much-
She is a
She
good
doesn't-
character.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I can see why people like her. She doesn't fit into what I enjoy, but that rescue spell is really nice.
Yeah, so the next person I recruited is one that's pretty simple, is Hanneman von Essar, one of our teachers. And for him, hands down, he's a really good magic user, so the best way to set him is to be like a Holy Knight or one of those knight classes at the end from what I can figure out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Holy Knight or probably maybe Dark Knight, I think
Yep.
would be good for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't invest in him too heavily. He's kind of weird. He seems like the kind of like wants you to donate blood for his weird mad scientist experiments. But yeah, I would take him Dark Knight just based looking off of his skills and where he's weak and strong at.
Yeah.
I would take him down the Dark Knight road.
Yeah, so another thing with him too is he's probably the character who will most affect the world throughout the game because of what he plans to do and what his crest research is about. Like, he's the one who would probably eventually find out a way to give crests to everyone.
Yeah, for like a lore standpoint, like you're definitely right about that.
Yeah, but like what I found with him, definitely train him to be a magic class user.
100% agree.
Yeah. So next we have Manuela, who's another of our teacher ones. And for her, she's another character who's basically set up to be a dancer hands down. The only thing is her reason stat isn't that good, so she's not the best to go turn into a Grimoire.
Yeah, and what sucks is you can't even make her a dancer because it doesn't let you. You only can use students to be a dancer.
Exactly. So the other way to put her is just turn her into another flying class with Falcon Knight and Pegasus Rider.
That's probably good idea. I would be okay, I think, with her as like a bishop. Basically at the end.
Yeah. Well, that's why I have her set to right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of the advanced classes are just as good as some of the master classes, depending on some of the unit strengths.
I've heard that too, but I haven't quite gotten anyone up there.
Yeah.
So our next one is Catherine, who once you reach a certain chapter, and I believe it's level 15, you can recruit her. And for her, she's just hands down made to be a sword master class.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And plus she's the one who uses the Thunderbrand skill. I mean sword.
I see you took her down a mercenary to get that advantage, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm kind of a perfectionist when a character learns a class, so I try to make it so they can learn everything and get the right skills.
No, that's good. You're gonna make her a killing machine on enemy phase.
Well, look at Bane and Monsters. It's such a great skill to have for auxiliary fights and certain main missions too.
100%. And she's one of the few whose relic has 30 uses. I think most of them only have 20.
Yeah, so she actually has quite a bit of uses to that. And she's been a pretty good character to me so far. She's another one who has quite the backstory. So now I'm on Shamir here. And for her, you definitely want to take her down the bow and knight setup. Though I believe she'd be another decent character as a flyer, because nothing's worse than a bow with a high movement range.
Oh no. Yeah, and I think personally for me, she's my favorite character that's not part of any of the student houses. She's like an outsider, like mercenary kind of background, who's just here basically because they pay the most. But I think I like her character design a lot, and she's bow-based. I like bow-based characters, and I mean, look at her personal ability, absolutely insane.
Yeah.
That once she gets one kill, it's all downhill for the enemy from there. I'm telling you, she will just roll through them.
And then the other thing is she has monster blasts, so any of those fly-in monsters, they fall to her like they're nothing.
Yeah, they're toast. She's amazing.
Yeah, so here we have our villager class of the game, Cyril. And with the way his skills are all set up, you either send him down the cavalry class unit or have him set to be a wyvern lord. He's just set up for those two.
Yeah, and he has really good growths across the board.
Well,
and yeah, his personability does not hurt that at all.
Yeah, aptitude is godly in any Fire Emblem game.
Yeah, and then yeah, I took him down the wyvern route. He was really well rounded across the board, like 30 plus strength, speed, dex.
Well, his strength is always already 23 with mine.
Yeah, and then once you start reclassing him, he'll get those class bonuses. And they each have their own like minimums, and he'll jump up, and before you know it, he's one of your main damage dealers.
Yeah.
If you really invest in him.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like to put the time into him as a character too.
Yeah, it's like the Donald and Amelia and like Ross's from the series, the peoples who just require a lot of investment early on. They have really high potential. It's just the work to get them there is astronomical.
Yep. So we've been going for this video for almost 15 minutes, and we finally went through my entire roster of characters.
That's your fault for recruiting everybody, man.
Yeah, I agree. But regardless, this game you can very easy beat it with just your normal characters. So, Drew and I are kind of going to do one more video after this. And I'm going to end it here. So this is Zach of SomeDudePlays.com, just some dude who likes to play video games with Drewstopher.
I appreciate you guys listening to us ramble for about an hour.
So if you like this video, there's that thumbs up, subscription, notification bell, and both of us like comments, so you can comment with me or visit his channel, Drewstopher, on YouTube. It'll be linked in the description below. And I will see you all later, so have a great day.
See you guys.